Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, hello, how are you? If you've seen my previous video on magic sounds and where do they come from, you might have a slight inkling as to where this one's going. This one is even more difficult to try and demonstrate, but it proves that the weakest link in listening is the ears. And I'll show you what I mean. I'll tell you what I mean, and maybe I'll even get you to see what I mean. Well, you never know. The problem is with listening, it's quite, these things here are affected by sound, which is only air pressure. They're also affected by air pressure, which is what sound's made of. But when I'm talking about that, they say, today we're going to have a high pressure region over the area. And you think, well, okay, what does that mean? Hot weather and I can't hear so well. Yeah, that's what it should mean. Well, they're also affected by things like dehydration, as in if you haven't had enough to drink, then they're not going to work so well. And also what you've been listening to just recently. So this is why trying to do this video has been a bit interesting. I've spent ages trying to get it, and you may or may not get it. But it just, that in itself is a success, because if you don't understand it, or if I can't prove it, then it proves that what we're doing is unpredictable. And this is why, and that's the sort of main reason for this is why audio is such a difficult thing to do, because one person's wonderful sound is another person's, oh God, that's awful. And they're both right. There's no doubt about it. If you've heard something that somebody else hasn't heard, and you can reproduce it, it's definitely there, even if they still can't hear it. If you can make it happen and then make it not happen, it's there. Take, for example, you're driving along in a car, nice car, you're pleased with it, and you've got a friend in the car, and you say to him, do you like my new car? And they say, yeah, great. And then they say, what's that funny whirring noise? You say, well, what whirring noise? It turns out they can hear the fan on the heater or something. You couldn't hear it because you weren't listening for it. So, this is the problem with ears. They are subjective. Anyway, let's see where we get on with this. Try and follow it if you can, and if you find some use out of it. Even if the only message you get from this is that audio is a mess, well, great. That's it. And if you'd like to click the like or whatever, that'd be good. And you never know, you might even like to subscribe and see what other rubbish I can come up with. Right, for the purposes of this demonstration, I've put myself into a little window, and there's an Audacity display that you're going to be seeing, and I'll talk you through it, which is going to be interesting. The reason I've done it this way this time, me in a little window and the Audacity window being the full size, is because I want you to be able to actually see effectively what's happening. I'm not going to step you through it like before, but I'll show you I'll tell you what I've done, and you can see and hear the differences. So hopefully that will make some sort of sense, and we'll see where we go from there. So, right, let me just fade this in, and there'll be me and an Audacity trace. Yeah, look, see, that worked. Okay, now I've got to make sure I've got audio, which I think I have, coming from the desktop. Click on that. So now I've got audio coming from the desktop. So what I play, you should be able to hear. Now, what I want you to do is bear in mind that this is being played back on your system, and it's going to sound different on your system to somebody else's. And this is what I'm saying. It's all subjective, but the effects should be the same. It's just you may not hear them to the same extent. I would suggest using headphones, but if you haven't got decent speakers available, but you could probably hear it on a phone, and you might be able to hear it even better on a phone. I don't know. I haven't tried it on a phone, but I have tried it with headphones and with playing the speakers on my computer, which are naff. But if they show it, then there shouldn't be a problem with anybody else. Right, what I'll do is, first of all, I'll explain this screen. Adjust the glasses so I can see what I'm looking at. Right, this is an Audacity playback that it's going to be as you would normally expect. So I just select none so that everything plays back normally. Right, what we've got here is a display here on this top left-hand corner, which is what's going to be called normal. This is the normal level of a piece of music. And then we've got one that's different. And then we got the same, different, and then we got some playback. Now, what I'll do is, rather than tell you what's going on, I'll tell you as it happens, and maybe we can see and hear and learn something together. Right, so here we go. I'm going to push the play button now, and hopefully this is going to work. This is a song called Guess I'll Never Know. It's from the YouTube library. I have chosen it because it's quite melodic. It's got some instruments in it. It's nothing particularly marvellous. Nothing in the YouTube library is marvellous, but this is one of the better ones. So give the chap some credit. He's made a nice job of it, and that's why I'm using it. Anyway, so Guess I'll Never Know, and here we go. This is playing at what we will call normal. So what I want you to do is then listen to the next one.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
This is exactly the same track, just not as loud. Please don't alter your volume. Listen to what's going on. This is the same track, a bit louder. It's got a little bit more life to it. This is what it was originally. So you can hear it sounds pretty good.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
So that's what it sounded like originally. So this is again what it was originally. And just listen to this, and then we'll listen to the next one.
I never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
Right, I'll just pause it there because... So that's the original track again. Now this one has had some EQ added. Just to see what you reckon.
I never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run.
Now that is the same track as what we heard before on that line, but with some EQ added. Doesn't quite sound so dull now, does it? So let's listen to exactly the same track again, but a little bit louder. Okay, so as you could hear, that was much brighter, sounded much better. And here we go with the same level as the top one, only with the EQ on it this time. So this is what it could have sounded like on the first one and on the top one. So here we go. Now that's quite interesting because that's much brighter. It's only the same level as it was previously and on the top track, but it's got the EQ on it. Sounds so much brighter and livelier, doesn't it? But this is the trouble, ears. Now this is the same track at 0 dB. There is no EQ on this. This is the track as it came down from YouTube.
Never really know what's going on.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
Right, so that was the original track at 0 dB rather than the levels that we chose to be our reference. So that was livelier and brighter, but with no EQ. Now this is the same track with EQ as on the previous EQ tracks. As you can see, it's got a bit of limiting in here. See what this sounds like. I haven't heard this yet, so let's have a listen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go on the top 20, number 1.
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out.
Okay, well that proves what? Well, it proves that if you put EQ on and then turn the volume up, you get clipping. It also proves that EQ possibly improves the sound, or not. The original there, which was next to the one we just played, had no EQ added to it, so that's the way it should have been played back, flat. But did you prefer the one with the EQs? And did you notice that the EQ had a greater or lesser effect according to how loud it was? Which is why this is what partly what's prompted this video. I go to a lot of sort of concerts, amateur concerts, karaoke, that sort of thing, and it's interesting how some people understand sound, and you can go in on the beginning of the day, it's relatively quiet, sounds good, and at the end of the evening it's loud, but it still sounds good. And other people don't, and the sounds that you get are awful. They can damage your ears. They really hurt, and they don't know they're doing anything wrong. Maybe this is what this is for, to show you how you can get it wrong, because your ears are not linear. The response to high frequencies and low frequencies is not equal. So if you alter the level of the signal, you need to alter the EQ to match, and that's what professionals understand, and that's what amateurs don't. So anyway, it's amazing how complicated these simple things can get, isn't it? Can't make it any simpler, but I can point out what the problems are. And another thing, do you know what a lot of people do when they're setting up their stereo systems or their PAs? I mean, it's all the same technology, it's just the rooms are bigger with the PAs generally. But what they have a habit of doing is they stand next to the speaker, they adjust it so it sounds nice, which is okay, sounds, starting point anyway. But what they do is they then set it up there, and then they just turn the volume up, which is what we said before. But you have to be careful. In some rooms and some auditoriums and some venues, you get the situation where you're in like the small alcove at the back, and you've got the thing set there, and you set it up so it sounds nice. You've got the bass and everything set right. Trouble is, you're squirting the sound out into the room, and so many people forget to go and sit or stand where the people who will be listening to it are going to sit or stand. Now, if you're an audiophile and you're going to sit in a specific seat, obviously you'd go and sit there. But most normal people forget that, and they just twiddle the knobs and then wander off and turn the volume up, and it all goes wrong. Anyway, that's it. If you've got anything from this video, please like and subscribe, or subscribe and like. If you didn't get anything from this video, well, come back another time and see where else we can go. Thank you very much. Catch you again. Bye-bye.